All right, everyone, good morning. It's game time. Gamestop. Gamestop chart is right here. And this is the stock that I'll be watching today. Looks pretty clear that over 150 is would be a breakout spot for a squeeze back to 160 and then 170. So we're coming up, we've got about 10 minutes to 7 a.m. Still dark here, relatively. I'm gonna turn my lights on, but 7 a.m. is when more traders are gonna come online. Of course, that's when more brokers allow pre-market trading. So I'll be watching Gamestop over 150, be watching it primarily after 7 a.m. Costs, this one, these two traded in tandem. Yesterday costs, so watching Gamestop here. I think it's probably going to pull back before the break of 150, but let's just see what it does. So nope, I'm in 150. I bought, and I'm going to add at 155. So adding at 52 right there. Now looking for the squeeze up to 160. Adding at 53. Watch this now, up to 155. And then up to 160. So GameStop breaking out right here. This is critical. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Looking for an add on this over $155. That's beautiful. High of that candle is 154. So we're already seeing it starting to break out here, pre-market. I'm going to hold this and look for an add through 155. Watching. Adding there at 53.80. Back of mind target on this is a squeeze to 160. And then up over 160 to 170. This is a stock that we know has the potential to move fast. High of this current candle right there is 154. I'll hold through this pullback. Looking for the break over 155. 7 a.m. is when more traders are going to come online, so that's when we'll see more volume and then move up towards 160. That's what I'm expecting. Dip trades, I'll buy dips and then look to add on breakouts over 155. I'll go main screen like that. So the high of this candle here is 154. So new order is 156. There's a nice big bid right there, 12,000 shares, 52. 10-second chart showing us very clearly that 154 is the breakout spot. There's 54 on the ask. Looking for the add through 54 and then 55. So what we have right here is a 1 minute micro pullback. We'll let it form the pullback and then we'll catch that trade through 154. Dip trades, I'll buy. But this volume right there, that's the confirmation. The high volume on that breakout confirms that other traders are jumping into this. Looking for that move back up towards 160, 170. As a reminder, for those tuning in early, I'm going to do the morning show a little long today. For those of you guys that want to watch, GameStop is obviously a popular stock that I know a lot of people have been talking about. So I want to do a little bit of a longer morning show. I would love for you guys to hit the thumbs up. Those of you guys streaming on YouTube, watch here, 154. This is a 1 minute micro pullback, so we're looking for the break of 154. There's 154 on the ask. There's 154.16. I want to see 155. There's 154.50. Let it break out over that level. The high of this candle is 54.50. So let's see if we get that break of 54.50. Over 154.50 could be a quick break, then the half dollar, 154.50, then 155. Watch here, the break of 154. High of that current candle is 54.50. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put an order here to add over 154.50 into that breakout. The low of this pullback is 150. We still have about 6 minutes before traders who start at 7 a.m. come online. So that's where I'm waiting really for more volume to come in over at 7 a.m. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, and we have costs here on the side. This one's also worth keeping an eye on. But Gamestop is the primary stock. So I'm looking for the breakthrough 160 and then back to 170 and then that curl maybe back to 200, back of mine potential. We'll see how far we get. Five minutes to 7 a.m. for those just tuning in. So we'll look to buy dips on this. Accumulate on dip trades. Then for the next breakout, the high of this candle is 154. 154.50. Cost moving a little bit higher. I don't know if I really want to trade that one right now, but maybe. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe small size on costs. It just has lighter volume, only 600,000 shares. High on cost was 34.70. I'm going to hold through this 5 minute pullback right here. I'll look to add on a dip. High of that candle is 51. Looking for more volume to come in around 7 a.m. So with cost trading so closely to GameStop, I wouldn't expect if GameStop is pulling back that cost is going to pop up. First 1 minute candle to make a new high would be over 51. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. It's going to be another wild day here. Buckle up. I said I'd start streaming at 7 a.m. So lock and load. Here we go. 7 a.m. GameStop. Breaking out here, back over 150 during a 5 minute bull flag. I'm watching for the break back through 154, 155, and then a move up towards 160. At 7 a.m., in 2 minutes, we're going to see more volume increase. This has been the pattern on this stock. If we go back here Gotta go back a few days. Let's see. So I'll just show you here. So this has been the pattern. Volume increasing right around 7 a.m. There's that 7 a.m. mark. And then right here, 7 a.m., volume increasing. So that's what I'm looking for, the volume increase at 7 a.m. and then the squeeze through 154. So right now we're on this bull flag. I have my starter position and I'm looking to add on the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, which is going to be over 152.42. We have about 1 minute to 7 a.m. here. So we'll look for the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. High of that candle is 52. Thank you guys who are tuning in. As a reminder, day trading is risky in case you didn't already know that. All right, so you shouldn't trade with real money till you've proven profitability in a simulator. Right there, 52, that's good. So watching for an ad right at 7 a.m. So watching here. Okay, so there's 7 a.m. and I'm adding right there 53. Now we're seeing volume coming in, looking for the surge through 54. Look at that volume. Watch this. So we're going to look for the break through 53, then 54, then 55. There's 52, there's 53, there's 55. Are we going to break higher? There's 55. I want to take a little off the table. Can I get the break at 55? Adding at 55 right there. Bought 2,000 shares at 55, looking for 56. So we've got 54.40 on the ask. Volume came in right at 7 a.m., just as I expected. Looking for the break through 155. There's 155. Needs to break through that level, 155. I'll add as it starts to thin out. Adding right there, 55. There's 56. There's 57. Next order, 160. Watching. The break of 160. Taking a little off the table here again. New order 160. Watching a dip trade. Adding long at 60 right there. Now looking for 65. Over 63 I'll add again. Once it starts to open up and move fast, I just keep adding into the squeeze, the short squeeze. The high is 62. Adding at 62. Now looking for 65. Scaling up here for a squeeze up to 165, 170. Sold some break even just to reduce my risk. So that 7 a.m. volume bar is what I was looking for. High is 62.95. There's 63. Can we get the break of 65? I'm going to stop the rest of this position at 60 and watch for an add over 65. High of that candle right now is 64.33. New orders at 165. Sold the rest of that, up about $56,000 on Gamestop. Holding still a position here at 160. High of this current candle is 164. Low of this one is 159, watching for a dip. The first proper 1 minute pullback will probably get bought up. Watching back over 164. Added right there for the break back over 164. Then looking for 65, adding at 65 right there. Now looking for 67, 68. Nice. Adding there at 66, looking for the squeeze up to $68, then 70. Watch over 67 for more volume to come in. There's 67, there's 68. I want to catch the break through that level up to $70. Sizing down on that trade. Risk was a little higher there. Now it's pulling back. I'm going to look for another dip. The high was 68. Costs moving higher as well. The high on that candle is 35. I'll keep an eye on costs. I'm going to watch Gamestop. High on that candle was 68. So it's 704. I'm sitting up $70,000. $49,000 in my retirement account plus 21 over here. Cost is surging higher again. The thing on cost is that the volume is light and the spreads are big. I feel more comfortable trading Gamestop. All right, so watching dips here for the next trade, 168 on GameStop. High of that candle is 167. It's extended. The risk is a false breakout. So smaller size on this trade because it's extended on the 5. But it may keep going even though it is extended. But I'm going to wait for it for a second. Watching. So that's a false breakout candle. It hit a new high and then dropped back down. You know, it's interesting because I actually have shares available to short. You can see right there, I actually could short this one. This is what the level 2 looks like. You're not supposed to broadcast real-time quotes, real-time level 2, because you have to pay the exchange for that. So if I broadcast this to everyone, I could be liable to pay exchange fees for everyone that's watching, which would be at the rate of, I think it's about $100 or $114. If we have, how many viewers do we have? 2,700. So I don't want to pay that. So that's why I don't have the level 2, but you can see my P&L position up here. Watching on this dip. So this one is one that dips down. So where's a possible bounce for a dip trade? 154. 154 would be a totally logical bounce. We got a nice breakout there from 150 to 168. So now it's time to wait for the next trade. Waiting for the next place where I think there'll be an obvious setup. We got the volume at 7 a.m., which is exactly what I was expecting. I was in ahead of that, as you guys saw. I got in for the break of 150, held through that breakout. It did come back down on me, held through the full bull flag, and then we got the squeeze up to 168. I took some off the table early in the 60s because on that trade, I got in right here, and then I held through the pullback, and the low of that pullback was, it was only 49, but you know, I was down $2, $3 a share because I was in at 52. My average was 52. So once it came back up here, if you have a trade that is a winner, then turns into a loser. When it comes back to a winner, you usually want to start unwinding it because you're grateful it's not a loser anymore. So I started unwinding it a little sooner, right at that 7 a.m. kind of surge. And it was just right at 7 a.m. Right at 7, it popped to 55 and then it flashed down to 50. Then it broke. And so as it broke through there, I was happy to take some off the table. So this is where we sit right now. Costs, this is forming a 5-minute pattern. The high is 35.79. I'm watching costs I'm long costs for the break of 36 here because it's obviously moving fast. Target will be $40. This is a bigger, higher, faster moving stock. So, and with lighter volume, but over 37 would be my next add on costs. So I'm adding right there at 37, adding at 37.88. I'm going to try to ride this momentum on costs up to $40. So watch this for the next add, which would be over 37.35. There's 37.89. That's not too bad. 37.50. I'm holding 6,000 shares right now. Let's see on this micro pullback what it does. So 99% gain on costs. Sizing down a little bit. The high is 37.88. New order at 38. Kind of flashed back down after that breakout, which I don't love. So sides back down a little bit. The high of this candle is 88. I'm going to leave an order at 38 for a dip. Added long there at 37.50 for the breakthrough 38. There's 38.50. I think on this one, smaller size is probably safer because the spreads are big. So the high of this current candle is 38.57. Adding at 38.57. Let's see, can we get that squeeze up to $40? High is, so there's 38 on the bid. My cost basis is 37.42. The 1 minute, that was a good 1 minute pullback, right? So this was the trade here, a 1 minute pullback, and we got a nice move there up to 38.88, but now coming back down a little bit. Still watching Gamestop. These are the two that I'm focused on. These two trade in tandem. But yeah, the cost spreads are tricky. The next level would be back over 38.88, so I'll put my order at 39. 10,000 share on the ask, seller on the ask there, so sizing back down a little bit more. I could do a dip trade on it, but the 5 minutes extended. So I think the primary setup here would be that it just keeps squeezing because these stocks just seem to go crazy. But high is 38.88, so we'll watch back over 38.50 on this 1 minute pullback. So we got a nice 1 minute pullback there. I'm going to look for another one right through here. If it breaks 38.88 right now, which it looks like it might, it's not really a proper pullback. There's a 10,000 share seller that just popped up at 80. But if that breaks, then we're looking at a move to 39. Watching. Gamestop. Currently on a 5 minute bull flag. So it pops up, sideways consolidation, very similar to what we had on the 1 minute right here on cost. This is a technical pattern. Gamestop bounces right back up. That's good to see. Costs, adding long at 38.44. Looking for the break through the flat top at 38.88. Then through 40. There's 38, there's 39. Can we get the break of 39? Adding right there. Looking for that pop through $39. So we've got 39 on the ask. Can we break through that level? Let's see if we break through 39. A little dip and then a rip through 39 would be nice. Watching for dip trades on costs. And then the pop through 39. So watch right here. There you go. There's that pop through 39. That's what I wanted to see. But didn't hold super well. Sizing back down on it for a winner, but looks like maybe a false breakout. I don't know. The high of that candle is 39.27. It's going without me. I got chopped out. I was in a little too high, and that's the problem when you get in high. Sometimes, you're in high, so you're like, I can't really afford to just hold this if it dips down on me, and then it goes anyways. So 39.45 is the next high day entry, but that, of course, would be back in at the highs. So over 1 million shares, 1.8 million on costs. Gamestop, it's 7:13. We have 1 minute, it's about 7:14. We have 1 minute left on this current 5-minute candle. So dialing this in, the high is 63.50. That's the 1 minute candle. This is the context here. We basically have run into the resistance. You can see it's kind of like this arm here and this arm here. We've run into the resistance of yesterday's close, which was right around 168. So that's the level that we certainly need to break. Costs continues higher, grinding higher. The high of this candle is 39.45, leaving an order at 39.50. GameStop dipping down a little bit, and that might hurt costs because if they trade in sympathy to each other, then if one starts to dip, you'd think the other would dip. Thank you guys tuning in on YouTube and Facebook. We're doing an early morning show here because GameStop ripped up 300% yesterday. Crazy, crazy momentum. Please hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. I'm hoping this will be the most popular GameStop video today. So I'm live streaming the GameStop price action here. I've already traded it pre-market. I'm not in any positions right now. I'm sitting and waiting for the next opportunity. So the early bird catches the worm. Now, funny enough, I was thinking about getting up at 4 a.m. to see, what kind of price action we'd have. So, you know what I did? I set my alarm on my phone. I set it for 3:50 a.m. 3:50, just like that. Is that coming in focus? There it is. 3:50. I was like, all right, I'll get up at 3:50. I slept with my laptop next to my bed. And I woke up at 2:30, and I had like a little bit of a headache, and I was like, ugh. I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, it's 2:30. All right, go back to sleep. Went back to sleep. Rolled over again and looked at the time. My phone was off. My phone died. I didn't plug it. I didn't plug it in. I was shocked, and I was like, oh my God. So I was like, you know what? That was like a divine intervention. Maybe I wasn't meant to trade at 4 a.m. So I plugged in my phone, charged back up. I checked the time, saw it was like 5:30 or whatever it was. And I looked at the price. I refreshed it on my web browser, and I saw it was at 140. And I was like, oh, 140. All right, well, I guess I'll go back to bed. So I went back to sleep. If I had seen that the price was like 180, 190, right under 200, I would have hopped out of bed. But at 140, I knew that had pulled back a little bit off the 200 high, so I was like, I'm gonna wait for it. I don't know. So I set my alarm then at 6:30, and jumped out of bed, came over here, excited like Christmas morning, knowing that we were gonna have some big action today, and sat down, started trading at like 6:45, 6:50, and that's when I started the broadcast. So. Yeah. So as it turns out, pre-market, which is what I expected, the volume would be very light. But, the volume right at 6 a.m. or sorry, 4 a.m., I mean, it wasn't nothing, but it just looks like right at that moment, what I probably would have been looking for is a dip and a rip, and it opened at 153, so down 10 points. Then it pops up to 167, which was the close, basically 168. Then it drops down and kind of sells off down to 132. But I'm sure the spreads were huge. It would have been on light volume. And so if you don't get a spike right there at 4 a.m., then your next best shot is really kind of coming into 7 a.m. So what happens at 7 a.m.? That's when most retail brokers come online. Most retail traders can't trade before 7 a.m. Now, you guys see the software I'm using. I trade with Lightspeed, and they allow trading at 4 a.m. So I can trade from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. But yeah, so right here, this is actually a spot. I'm going to do a dip trade on this here at 54. The reason I'm going to do a dip trade is because this is bouncing off the previous resistance, which was right here. And so I'm expecting after that kind of strong flush that we will get a bounce. That's a strong bounce. I'm looking for the first candle to go green, the first 1 minute candle. We do still have a little room to the volume weight average price, which is 150. And I could hold it down to 150 and add off that level. So I'm going to put another order around 150. And then I can add and look for that pop back up over 154. So we've got 153 right now, but looking for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, which would be over 154.73. All right, so there's 155. Let's see if it bases out a little bit more over 155. So taking a little off the table for $1 a share, and then it flashes back down. Yeah. I only bought 1,000 shares on this one. 154 on the ask. It's coming a little lower. I don't like how big that red candle is on the 5. I thought it would bounce off 154, which was this previous level, so I kind of got in right as it was hitting it. And it hasn't really bounced that much off of it, but let's see what it does. High there was 155.08. So scanners are running right here. These are scanners that Warrior Pro students get. Top gappers. So I'll take a look at some of the gappers. But, you know, it's one of these things that on a day like today, all eyes are kind of on GameStop, and then COS is a sympathy name. BlackBerry and AMC, I'm not as interested in. You see the same volume spike that happened right at 7 a.m. COS actually was a nice one. I didn't get as much on that as maybe I could have. CCIV. I mean, I see it popping up, but I don't like the daily chart on that. So still holding that small position now. I'll just kind of keep a little skin in the game. So Gamestop gapping up 69%, CKT, a bit of a gap there as well. LOTZ, I see it. So for those streaming on YouTube and Facebook, one of the nice things about being a member of Warrior Trading, you get access to my scanners here. So these are all scanners that I've built out to look for stocks that meet my criteria for having, you know, potential to be good momentum trades. So you have access to my scanners, you have access to a private chat room, which is just for our students. And of course you have access to all of our classes. You have access to my live trading archives, and I can give you a link. I'll just show you a video here. Let's see, where's a good one? So that's the main advantage of being a member. Certainly on YouTube, when I do the morning show, you get to watch over my shoulder, you get to learn a little bit, but you don't get all the strategy that's broken down in the classes. The classes right now are 35 chapters, and I would say since I started teaching it in January, I've probably been teaching an average of 3 hours a day for 5-6 weeks now. So yeah, it's in terms of the amount of content, I would say it's in excess of 100 hours at this point, which is what you want if you really want to learn something. You know, a 90-minute long DVD it's like reading a pamphlet on skydiving, and you go jump out of a plane, and it's not the way to do it. So yeah, so here's one. This was a live trading archive. Just while we wait on GameStop. GameStop's consolidating a little bit, so just kind of waiting on that. Cost is consolidating because GameStop's consolidating. So this was the day that I traded GameStop after hours. Look at this squeeze from 150 to 188. So I'm in at 169.88 on this one. And this is what I do every day. I just keep trading. Some days are better than others. Today's already a fantastic day. Some days are slower. GameStop has been a big driver of momentum. So active momentum traders, which is not just retail traders, it's institutional traders as well. We look to buy high and sell higher. I saw one institutional firm, a hedge fund that made over $750 million on GameStop. So this is this video of it going up here. Just it's incredible. It pulls back. It does a pullback. So this is kind of that bull flag formation. And I'm still holding this GameStop position here, small size. It's down at 147. So we get this sort of consolidation. Then we look for that first 1 minute candle to make a new high. We look for that curl back up. So we're at 179 here in this video. This was from a couple weeks ago. And now look at this confirmation. Now all of a sudden, look at this candle as it breaks 180. Watch this. So it's going to break $180. Watching the break of 180. Look at this break. 20,000 shares immediately to 185. Immediately. I mean, that's like that's an awesome trade. It continues higher. Now we're looking at the first 5 minute candle to make a new high. And then we get the break over 200. You can look at the break at 200 as well. So Warrior Pro students have access to these live trading archives, so you can go back and rewatch it. And we actually did it's like a 2-hour long case study video specifically on GameStop and all of the examples and trades I had taken on it. So this is pulled back here. So this is our real-time chart. The low was 141. We broke back below the volume weight average price. Don't love seeing that. So we did retreat from 150, from 168 back down to 150. Right now, I'm just kind of watching it. I've already made my money on it. I'm holding a 50 share position just to keep a little skin in the game so I can keep watching it, but keeps me a little more focused when I still have a position. So the low there is 41. You know, I could get maybe a double bottom trade off of 41, but it's below volume weight average price. So let's just see what it does for maybe a double bottom trade. There's a 5,000 share buyer there, 41. So I'm going to do a dip trade at 42. So I bought the dip right there at 42. I'm looking for this double bottom. So on the chart, you can see right here, double bottom at 41. So now I want to see it back up through 45, 46. So there's 43.50. Let's see if we get the break back through 45. There's 43 on the ask, 42.70. And I'm going to hit the bid on it, lose 800 bucks. It's a dip trade. Can always come back to it, but the break through 41, I don't want to hold through that. So if it's going to bounce on a double bottom, it's got to bounce pretty quickly. So I'm curious for those of you guys on different trading platforms who has restriction on GME, who's able to trade it. Give me a little update. I'm gonna turn on my light here. I'm trying to get the light switch with this thingy. There we go. Webull is good. Fidelity is good to go. Trade zero, cash only. TD Ameritrade can trade it. No restriction on TD. It's great. So I'm restricted to cash only. I can't use my leverage on it. This says 100%. If I do like General Motors, you can see I only have to put up 25% cash, which means I have 4 times leverage on something like General Motors. Take the E off GME and you got General Motors. Add an E and you got Gamestop. So Gamestop, I have to use only my cash balance, but that's fine. I have enough cash in my account to trade it, so it's not a big deal. And in fact, at $142 a share, this is, I mean, it uses a fair amount of buying power, but it's not as bad as it was when it was at 400, 500, or higher 400s. I would remind you guys, one of the risks and one of the concerns that I've had is the possibility of the New York Stock Exchange halting trading, not on circuit breaker, but actually requesting news from the company. That hasn't happened so far, knock on wood. So, if it hasn't happened yet, I don't know is it going to happen now? If it didn't happen after hours in that big move, well, now we're kind of coming back in, so I don't know really why they'd halt it here. But it is a concern. And the risk there is that if the exchange halts the stock, then we're not talking about, losing like 10 cents a share. We're talking about potentially losing a really significant amount of money. So these are from classes. So we're up to slide 1,343. But let's go back here. Let's see, where do we have it? I'm looking for a specific spot. We just talked about it. What's the dip trade? I'm trying to remember. We were just talking about this in class the other day. I don't remember what section it was, but I had a few examples of no news trades. Recent IPO breakout. Blue sky. Okay, so here you go. So this is a stock BDR. Squeezes up on no news from $1.40 to $3. The exchange halts trading in it, asks the company to provide information. They say there's no news to account for this move. It drops hard. Same thing on this company, drops hard. So this is something that is a risk when trading a stock that basically has no news. RHE dropped from 10 all the way down to 5, 50% haircut. So you lose 50%. That's painful. That's really painful, and it's happened to me before. So it has not happened. And again, this is just to reiterate. This is the Warrior Pro curriculum here. So let's see. Let me go up to it right here. So this is our current curriculum for Warrior Pro students, for those that are curious. But yeah, I know the CFO, that was the change up. But the thing is, so here's the thing. Some of these stocks have had a headline like that. There's a headline, and the exchange still halts it because the headline, I guess in the opinion of the exchange, doesn't justify a 400% move or whatever the case is. So that's where we're not totally out of the woods. Usually a CFO resigning is not a good sign, but in this case, it indicates, this is all speculation, but the sort of, the possible change in direction of the company that people are hoping for, with Ryan Cohen being on the board. And of course, this was probably a decision by the board. There could have been criticism maybe of the company not raising capital, not doing a secondary offering during the big squeeze. Although I think that if they had done that, they would have been betraying all of the retail investors who bought the stock and are holding the stock and who are also their customers. So I think that they wisely chose not to take advantage of that situation. I mean, I don't know if anyone would have really blamed him for doing it. It would have been the smart move, but at the same time, depending on the price and everything else, it could have definitely been very upsetting for the traders who, get hit. Because when a company does a secondary offering, if the price is $25 a share, all of a sudden it drops back down, usually pretty close to that price. Yeah, and I know, Charlie. I saw that quote about Charlie Munger, and I personally don't. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not super successful. He is, but I don't take my trading advice really. Well, I don't take trading advice from anyone, but I trade my own strategy. But I wouldn't take a lot of advice from someone who has such a different strategy. They don't trade. We as active traders, we capitalize on these volatility opportunities, and that's been true for forever. That's what active traders have always done. So people that are focusing on fundamental analysis, they always will criticize these, these times when the price becomes so disconnected from fundamentals. How different is that from what's happened on Tesla? I mean, if you're going to be honest, how different is it? How much is Tesla up? How much has the market share changed, and the market cap? So let me I have this, and I'm just throwing out my I guess I don't really care all that much, but if someone's going to say that this is crazy and we should something should be done to prevent this from happening again, I would say, well, has anyone looked at Tesla recently? I haven't heard too many people complaining about the Tesla chart. That's the Tesla market cap in a year. Okay, so it didn't happen in a week, but this is their market cap. This is their global revenue. So yeah, Wall Street has always been pricing higher what a company is going to produce, and Tesla's on a great track, certainly much better than these companies. But does that justify it being worth more than all of those other car makers combined? I don't know. I mean, you could say that that is its current value. That's its current price. So investors do believe it's at that value. And if you have a problem with the current value of GameStop, I would hope that you would also have a problem with the current value of Tesla, because it doesn't seem to exactly match the fundamental value. So that's where we have a disconnect. And those disconnects provide opportunities for fundamental traders as well. That's why some people have a strong short position on Tesla, because they think it's so disconnected from the current trading price from the actual sort of book value. And on the other hand, long-term investors like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, they would look for a stock that is very disconnected from its book value and is significantly underpriced. That just the value of its assets alone are more than the share price. So they go in and take a 15-20% stake. Then with a 15-20% stake, they can potentially petition themselves to get on the board of directors and start throwing out strategy. Well, that's what Ryan Cohen did with GameStop. That's what he did. He took a huge position last year. I don't know how he bought how many million shares at, it was like a huge position, 13% stake in the company. Now he's on the board of directors. Now he's petitioning for this digital strategy for them to turn the company around. That's activist investing. Now, the only thing different really on GameStop from some of these others is that GameStop had over 100% short interest. And short sellers got squeezed on it hard. And I think it just has, become a stock that a lot of people really like, just for the fact that every time it goes up, it feels like it's a kind of, little guy getting it, against the man. I mean, or something like that. So But if people like it, if people are all into it, then they're all into it. You could go back and look at stock charts from so many different companies that went up and up and up and up and just were crazy disconnected from the true value. But it was, it was hype and people were excited about it. People loved it. And then, those companies come back down. They go back out of favor. It's true that we're seeing pretty crazy levels of volatility. What happened on GameStop is not something that we had seen in a while, but it's not something that we haven't seen in similar degrees on sort of a spectrum of short squeeze or volatility. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. And it's only my opinion. I mean, take it for, it's worth nothing. It's just my opinion. I'm just a regular retail trader trading the markets. They go up, they go down, and I trade them. I trade the volatility, but I could take it a little bit. I just think it's a little. I think the argument that some people have. One person was saying they should halt trading of GameStop for a month. It's like, that doesn't feel like it's really thought out. What does that mean for every shareholder that is just holding the stock? They can't sell it. They can't do anything for a month. That doesn't seem to really solve the problem. That's a Band-Aid. I mean, that would certainly cool off emotions on it, but that's not going to stop this from happening on another stock, potentially. And then they halt that one, then they halt another one. Then how many stocks do you have halted? So if there's really a problem, or this is a perception of a problem, that a company can get this far out of balance from its true value, you could look at a number of other examples of that, but I don't know. Again, it's just, it's a tough thing, because I could also, I could certainly see the standpoint that this has gotten crazy. This was crazy, and it can hurt retail traders. It can hurt institutional traders. It hurts the integrity of the market to a certain extent to have something like this happen. It would make investors much more cautious. So then you have to say, well, what were the underlying conditions that allowed something like this to happen? Was it the high level of short interest? Was it the trading on excessive amounts of leverage that put people in positions where they were forced to capitulate? Or, I don't know. I mean, if it's just people really like the stock, whether it's on Reddit or, it's people on Twitter who really like Tesla or whatever it is, then that I don't know what you're going to do about. If people really like a stock and they all love it, they all love it. But the rapid rise and then the fall is it's concerning. You don't like to see that. Tesla, at least in its rapid rise, has held its levels well. But at the same time, this is all much more moderate, but it has dropped from a high of 900 back down the other day to 600. That's a 30% drop off the high, just about, right? It's a pretty big pullback. And now, of course, Tesla's in the S&P 500, so that weighs on the S&P 500 when it comes down. And of course, Tesla's now invested in Bitcoin. So now everyone invested in the S&P 500 is invested in Tesla and therefore invested in Bitcoin. I wasn't planning on being invested in Bitcoin, but because I own some of the S&P 500, now I do. So now I got to check the Bitcoin Bitcoin price every day. But anyways, I'm kind of just throwing out my ideas. I'm always curious to hear what your opinions are. They're just as relevant as mine. Thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook and YouTube and hitting the thumbs up. So no, I don't trade cryptocurrency, and I don't trade Bitcoin. And one of the things for me is that, I have a hard time feeling comfortable funding some of the crypto, with some of the brokers. I'm not saying that they aren't perhaps super legitimate and fine, but you've also heard about some brokers crashing, during really heightened trading. There's always that concern of what if the broker got hacked and you don't have deposit insurance. It's a different ball game. So I don't think I'd feel comfortable putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into any one brokerage account. Not that there aren't people that have millions in one account, but I just don't think I'd feel comfortable with it. So I don't know. I just really haven't gotten into it. Maybe I'm gonna be like, old man who's like, oh, I don't have Bitcoin. I don't know, and it just keeps going higher and higher. That's kind of what it's been. I never thought it would go this high, but. So anyways, I'm sitting here up 70,000 on Gamestop. So I feel like I could have done better on GameStop this morning. On the one hand, if I'd held my position a little longer into that squeeze. On the other hand, if I held the whole thing, I'd be back down to red by $8 a share from the 150 entry. So you never catch the top and the bottom of a move as a day trader. It just doesn't happen. You never do. You get as much as you can on it. You often feel like, oh man, I sold a little too soon, or oh man, I should have sold a little sooner. You got to let that go, because you're going to feel that every single day on pretty much every trade you take. All right, so let me catch up on the comments here. Did I ask you guys? So Code Red says, don't forget Uncle Sam's cut. This is in a retirement account, so no tax, but I can't spend it until I'm 59 and a half years old. 23 years. That's all right. I can wait, and I'll let it keep growing. Now, that's not entirely true, because I could take the money out, but if I take it out, I'd pay income tax on it. And I think as long as the contribution was more, I think as long as the contribution was longer than like 3 years ago, you don't pay a penalty on it. But I don't remember. I don't know exactly. 5 years, says Pancho. So, yeah, you could always, and people do, and I did it when I was first getting started. My parents had set up, I don't know if it was it wasn't maybe a retirement, but it was like an annuity or something like that. And, the lady was like, well, if you liquidate it, you're going to have a penalty of, 10%. And I was like, I need the money. So, what am I going to do? I need the money. I'm going to liquidate it. All right, so let's see. Yep, so I see we're back to the volume weighted average price here on Gamestop. I have two charts on Gamestop up. Cost was on the other side. So that one, again, I did jump on it. I chased it. I bought a little high once it really started to prove itself. The volume was a little bit lighter, but yeah, I should make a note on that to fund IRAs for my kids. I haven't done it. It's a smart thing to do. The sooner you do it, it's just sooner you do it, the longer it can grow. You think about my older son is 3 years old, so he's got 56 years of compound interest, compound growth. So I think at the rate of 7%, the account doubles like every 7 years or something like that. So if I put 1,000 in right now, compound interest calculator, what's it going to be at? Let's see, compound interest calculator. All right, so let's see. So let's do this. So initial investment, let's say $1,000. So I'll put in $1,000. Monthly contribution is 0. Length of time in years, 56 years. And estimated interest rate, let's say 6%. Let's just leave that at 0. Calculate. That's $26,000. All right. Well, so hey, you start with 10,000. Calculate. 260,000. You start with 10,000 and then you contribute. Let's see what contributing $100 a month does. Wow. Even just $100 a month. Well, if you start with $1,000 and then do $100 a month, it's $500,000. So you would have contributed $68,000, and it would have grown with compound interest to $528,000. Now, what if you put that whole $1,000 into the $1,000 calls on Gamestop? One can only wonder. Listen, son, I put it all in Gamestop because Gamestop won't stop. Son, you're going to the moon. So you have to understand, of course, day trading is risky. And most beginner traders do lose money. So I know when you see me trade, you think, oh, wow, this looks easy. Well, you probably could think the same thing about someone, doing a lot of things that they've been doing for a long time, like downhill skiing or, I don't know, surfing or juggling flames, knives, I don't know. But ultimately, all of that is through a lot of experience. So the disclaimer that I put up, and I'll put it up again here. Actually, put it right down there, and I'll just put it up right here. Oops. I'll just go like that. The reminder is that day trading is risky, guys. Please, don't try to blindly follow me. Don't blindly follow anyone. Prove that you have what it takes to be profitable by trading a simulator. And if you can trade in a simulator, and you can put together a decent track record of trading a simulator, then what you want to do is look at those metrics, and I'll show you just for instance how you can do it. So you can look at those metrics and say, all right, well, based on these metrics of trading a simulator for 3 months or whatever it is, this is how much money I'm making. This is what my profit loss ratio is. This is my percentage of success. That's what you essentially are using as your business plan to justify trading with real money. And until you have something that's profitable, you'd be better off putting real money into probably almost anything else. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of traders jump into the market without without a lot of education, without a lot of strategy, and they throw real money into it, and they get burned. That's the statistic. They think it'll be easy, and then they lose money. And I'm sure some of you guys have had exactly that happen to you on Gamestop. And so my role as an educator, more and more, is talking people off the ledge and saying, guys, stop trading with real money. You don't know what you're doing. Okay, you had a little beginner's luck with Gamestop. That's awesome, but that's not going to sustain you. You're not going to be able to build a career on that. Don't sign a lease on a Ferrari just yet. That's $4,000 a month. Yes, you had a good month on Gamestop, but you think you're going to be able to do that consistently for the next 5 years, 10 years? I mean, yeah, I guess if we had a Gamestop every single month, but this was a very rare event. I don't think it's going to be something that keeps happening again and again and again. I mean, if it does, I'll be proven wrong, but I would encourage you to spend the time to kind of invest in practicing. So, to that extent, had you back here in January said, all right, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks practicing every single day in a trading simulator. I really want to learn. This is interesting. This is fun. I like trading. I want to make it happen. Then today, right now, you would be better equipped to be trading this stock than certainly you were a month ago. And you'll be better a month from now than you are today. And you'll be better 6 months from now than you are today. Part of trading is learning the mechanics of it. And that's where, the classes that I teach and, whatever. I mean, learn however you want. But that's where this comes into play, learning the kind of core components of trading. And then you got to start practicing. So my classes, they're kind of like, it's kind of a science in the sense that we have, 100 hours or whatever it is of lecture class, which is me teaching you the topics, teaching you the strategy. And then you have the lab work, which is coming in each morning and practicing what you're learning in the simulator. And then you're scored based on your metrics. Are your metrics sustainable? Yes or no? Okay, so costs. So look at how these two charts are trading like in tandem. Pops up, dips down. Pops up, dips down. So the question here is which one is perhaps easier to trade? Well, costs I've made less money on. But so in terms of that, it would seem that Gamestop is the better. Although cost is a little less expensive. It's up 92%. It's got 3.5 million shares of volume. It's not easy to borrow. Gamestop at 154, 155 is certainly expensive. It's only 8 a.m. We still have an hour and a half to the bell. And this is the problem with starting really early, is that by the time the bell rings, sometimes you're exhausted. So I don't know how late I'll trade today, but just catching up on the comments here. Those of you guys that are on YouTube, I'm going to give you a link to the replay of my last free day trading class. It's Day Trading 101. Day Trading 101 free class. Register here for the replay at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it today, 1 p.m. Eastern if you want. It's going to be a replay, and I have support staff that are in the replay so they can answer any questions that you guys have. So if you're watching and you're like, well, wait a second, what's this? You can actually ask someone who's right there live to answer. All right, so 36.50 on costs is looking interesting, but then it's hard to trade costs without keeping an eye on Gamestop. Gamestop has reclaimed the volume weighted average price. It's starting to do a bull flag right above it. I'm going to get rid of some of these lines here. So let's see. 167.50, 168. So while I prefer Gamestop, right now it's not giving me a setup. These are some of the levels that we'll be looking at. 194 breaks, then we're looking for a move up to 200, then 212. So those are our levels on Gamestop right now. Costs, the low there is 34.56, so it's about $1 off the low. Gamestop, high this candle is 55.80, so high there is 56.19. You know, Gamestop is one that if you get it going the right direction and you get one of those nice sort of 10-point surges, you can do really well. But buying at a breakout is risky because if it does a false breakout and drops 5 points, just like that, dang it, you know, big loss. Hey, Clary, check it out. That's awesome. Very cool. Hey, I love that window. Marine Corps. Very nice. Thank you for your service, man. That's awesome. Very cool setup. I love looking out the window. I love having the window right here by my desk. You guys can't see it super well with this camera, but I have the window right here. I've had a red fox run by during the summer. I had a groundhog living under the porch right here. It's so relaxing. Your office space and this is the office where I've made the most money. Your office space makes a huge difference, I think, in how you trade, how you perform. So, and sometimes when I'm on a little bit of a rough streak, I'll just come in and kind of just clean up my office. I'll get it organized. Maybe I'll rearrange it a little bit, you know, hang a new light or do something and just kind of spruce things up. Now, this is 8 a.m., so we're seeing right at 8 a.m. some of those institutional alternative display orders going through. That's common. All right. So if you recall, my neon Christmas light served me really well during the month of December. And then I brought it out for good luck a little while ago, and I had an amazing day. So I'm gonna bring it back out here. Okay, so we're seeing that volume surge. That candle kind of screws up the charts a little bit. So the high appears to be 63. Wow, look at that volume coming in. So our high of day is 68. All right, so we're getting another one of these little surges here. So let's try to dial this in. So we got a micro pullback here. I'm long at 60, buying at 160 right here. I'm looking for the squeeze to 165. So over 162 would be an add. Try to ride this momentum up here, watching for an add over 162, holding, dip, and then along 162, watching. I want to get that add to squeeze to 165. Holding still, I'm going to let it pull back. Looking for 162 and at 159.99. So looking for the squeeze on this up towards 163, 164. 165, watch it back over 160. So we've got 159.97 there. I want to see back over 160, then 162, 163. This is a micro pullback right here. So we need to see the break back over $160. Buying the dip there at 59 for the break back over 160. So there's 60 on the ask. First 1 minute candle to make a new high. There's 61. So that was not a picture perfect trade. There's 60.88. I'm unwinding the position down to small size. It wasn't picture perfect because I got in at 160, then it dropped back down to 158. I bought the dip at 159. And again, once it's back over 160, I'm like, I better take some off the table. I was just red on this thing. High is 161.51. High there was 161. New order is 162. I'll add back at 162 or I'll add on a dip. Volume really picked up there at that 8 a.m. mark. Same with cost, but not as much. Watching down here as it pulls back. This is funny though, because the high was 156. I'm doing a dip trade here at 155. I'm trying to dip trade off of that 56 level. So in at 55.64, looking for a pop back up to 57. This is risky, no doubt about it. These type of dip trades can be risky. But let's see if we pop back up to 156. So again, you see how we kind of have that move where it popped up and then kind of retraced this move. Watching, adding at 53, right there. So looking for that curl, that first 1 minute candle to make a new high, right? See how that 10-second candle starts to pop up? So we get that type of pop. Now can we get back over 154? Looking for 154.50. There's 154. My average is 154.16. So I'm looking for that pop back to 154.50, then 155. These are some of those institutional orders going through, but I'm going to cut that loss at 53. So lost, I think, I don't know, like 3,000 on that. Oh man, look at those. Look at that. That's tough. Those are huge candles. Back down to the kind of low here, 135. Well, on the candle wick. AMC. I don't see anything I really like there. These candles are crazy. So I'm just going to move this around for a second. So look at that. Look at these candles. Let's see. So at this point, I would draw this trend line from here to here, from here to there, and from there to there. So these are the levels that I'm watching on Gamestop. These are all very technical levels, but it's still what I'm watching. So just being patient right now. We'll wait for the next opportunity. The last trade was a loser on the dip trade, but the loss was relatively small. I think in order for us to have good momentum today, and this is probably stating the obvious, but we need to see GameStop. I think we need to see it hold up. The problem is if it fades and it doesn't hold up well, I feel like that's going to weigh on momentum across the board because it's the stock that so many people are watching. I could be wrong, but if we don't get a big breakout on it, I don't know if we're going to get anything else that kind of makes up for it. If we look just while this is kind of sideways here, this is our gap scanner this morning. So these are all the stocks in the market that are gapping up more than 5% and are priced above 50 cents. Those are my only filters. So as I look at this scan, we've got PAND, which is up 131%. That's a buyout. Okay, so that's Merck is acquiring this company. That's amazing for shareholders. That's a dream. Acquisition over 100% the price. That's a dream. All right, so they did well. So next one is costs. This one's gapping up 84%. 84% right there. I'll put up my drawing tool so you can see maybe a little better. Let's see, pointer. So there's 84% on costs. And then there's DYNT. Now, costs we've already looked at. I don't know what that's all about. Anyways, so just reading that headline. So costs, this has been sympathy to GameStop. When GameStop was strong, costs was strong because of a tweet that costs may be another target for the Reddit community because it had such high short interest. Well, it ended up squeezing, probably because it had such high short interest. I don't think that it was ever a big Reddit stock, but in any case, now today it's popping back up. FinViz reports the short interest on costs at, I believe, about 40%. Let me just check. Shows us 18% on costs right now. So it's actually come down from last night, from yesterday. And let's look at GameStop. GameStop is reported at 30% right now. So GameStop's a little bit higher. Anyway, so this one has given some nice opportunities starting at 7 a.m. when volume started to really pick up. But realistically, at this point, the high is 39.45. So that's the real breakout spot. All right, so next one down, Gamestop. Oh, DYNT, I skipped over that. So this is on our gap scanner, but it's selling off. It doesn't look that great. Gamestop, obviously, talked about that a lot. So that's where we sit right now. Girl, that's enough. Pull it together. SCKT. This one, pulling back. SSNT. This one's also not set up well. ASRV. And those ones had lighter volume anyways. This one gapped and sold off. True, I wouldn't, True Car, I don't care about this. Floats 83 million, CCRN. And now we're coming down the gap scanner. So these ones all have lighter volume. So at this point, it's kind of GameStop or nothing. This sometimes happens when you have a stock like GameStop that has so much attention. You know, it either works because everyone's focusing on it and we get great price action, or it doesn't. And when it doesn't, if something else starts to pop up, that may start to become the obvious stock. But one of my goals each day is to try to figure out what is the obvious stock today? What is the stock that all active traders are watching, right? So the way we find that is by looking at our high day momentum scanners. These will show us stocks that are squeezing up right now, and then we measure the gain with a relative volume. So higher relative volume means the stock today has much higher volume than it did in the previous trading session. Cost today has 4.8 million shares of volume. Yesterday it had, looks like 83 million shares, which is really impressive. So pre-market, we're kind of lighter on relative volume, but we're picking up. GameStop yesterday had oh, that was GameStop, sorry. GameStop had 83 million. Cost yesterday had 13 million shares. So we're already at almost half of that pre-market. GameStop had the 88 million, and yesterday has 8.3 million. So it's got about 10% of the volume. These will both probably have high relative volume today. There will be a lot of trading on them. The high relative volume is an indicator that there's a lot of people trading it. It's above average. That's as simple as that. It's above average volume. So why does a stock have above average volume? It's usually because of some type of catalyst. Well, in the case of these ones, that's been kind of not always the case that we've had a very clear catalyst, but the catalyst, I guess at the very least, is that everyone likes it and it's starting to move back up. So perhaps more of a technical catalyst than a fundamental one, but nonetheless, that's what we're looking at on GameStop and I suppose costs as well. So those are the obvious ones right now, but by the time the bell rings, we may have something else that does start to pop up. And if one of these two, or GameStop and then cost follows it, if they both kind of fade, then you're gonna have a lot of traders sitting here looking for something to trade. So the next thing that pops up that looks similar or is moving quickly, you're going to have a lot of people that jump on it. And that's sort of that FOMO MOMO. MOMO picking up because traders are just sort of jumping on the next thing that's moving. And we see that, I mean, across the market. So it's can be hard because it sometimes feels like you're just chasing the volume. But ultimately, as a day trader, that is kind of true, that we are chasing volume. So we're always hunting for volume and volatility, and then we've always got to be trying to manage our risk. Let's see. Wow, okay. That was the problem. So this is where I finished the day yesterday for what it's worth, 50,000. Nice recovery from my red day of $270,000 on the first week of the month. First day of the month, I lost 94 grand, and that was thanks to losing $125,000 on GameStop. So I haven't even made back today everything I lost on GameStop on that day. I'm up 65,000 in this account. I'm up 21 in this, so that's 86,000 on the day. 75 of it is on GameStop. So I still have another 50,000 to make back before I get back to flat on Gamestop after that loss, but that doesn't really matter. So started the month down 100 grand basically, 2 small green days, then lost $268,000 on Thursday the 4th. Slow bounce back, slow recovery, and then things started to pick up last week. I've now had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green days in a row. So since the 12th, so since February 12th, I've had 8 green days in a row. Today's so far the 9th, and I've made $450,000 in 8 days. Accuracy, 69%. Profit loss ratio, right around 1 to 1. Biggest winner, 32 grand. Biggest loser, 27,000. Not bad. So after today, if I can hold on to these gains, this is going to be the, 9th day in a row, 5, 8. So today would be the 9th day in a row. It's the 25th. 25 is my favorite number. It always has been. So a fun fact about the number 25, upside down, it's 52. Now, most people don't know that, but when you have a favorite number, you know everything about that number. So I know all its secrets. I know everything about it. I know sometimes it tries to trick me up and, oh, today's my favorite day. Here comes number 25 trying to screw me up. No, not today. Not today. Good start today, and I want to hold on to it. I will acknowledge that it would not be impossible by any means for me to lose half of what I've got right here. I'm up 85,000. I could easily lose 40 grand on a 10-point drop on GameStop. 4,500 shares, 10 points. I could lose 45,000 just like that. So I do need to be careful on risk management on this one. It does feel like it's coming back down a little bit. This is not the bullish pre-market I was hoping for. I was hoping that we were going to consolidate up here like this for a break at 200, and it was going to be fireworks up to 220, 250. So in fact, we're gapping a little bit down after hours, and even if we do break through 167, then we still got to get back to 194. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm not liking this as much as I was after hours last night. So, got to be a little careful on the risk as it gets a little bit higher. Robinhood traders can't trade till 9 a.m. Is that true? That seems crazy. I didn't really set a monthly goal. Actually, I didn't check to see where I sit on the month. I haven't really set monthly goals right now because the market's just so crazy. What I make will just be what I make. I mean, I could have a great month or it could be choppy. So I was sitting at 187,000 on the month after yesterday. So that'll put me today up over 200, which is great. And that's before fees and commissions. Fees and commissions have been more substantial this month, but in any case, it's still a good month, I guess. It's my worst month since November, but really can't complain. So watching my scanners here, I'm going to put them up here. Warrior Pro students, you guys have the scanners running on your side. So we're going to keep GameStop on the left, cost on the right. I have this little funny, I don't know, right under my C button on this laptop, which is the one I use for the broadcast. That button has just been not working super well. It's a problem because my hotkey for sell a quarter is Control C. And I trade on this laptop sometimes in the morning when I'm first getting up. Hey Net, are you in the small cap room this morning? Where's Net at? Where's my man Net? All right, well, looks like maybe he's not in today. Let's see. All right, what time is it? 8:26. I haven't even had my breakfast yet. No, Ryan, she let me down. I was working on my Craigslist post. Used old dog for trade. Yep. She's no good anymore. I told her to buy Gamestop yesterday afternoon when I was driving home. She didn't, of course. She doesn't even have thumbs, but yeah, really let me down. Look at this. So this is tricky. This is tricky stuff. So these waves are deep. You know, it's a deep pullback, a quick climb, a deep pullback, another quick climb. This becomes tricky. This is difficult stuff to trade when it pulls back that much. Because now when you get back in at 62, you're getting back in at the top of the range. Can't really do that. I mean, you could, but I don't really want to do that. Good morning, Roberto. So it's 2:30 in the afternoon in Italy right now. Must be nice. What's the temperature? Is it sunny? Sunny in Florida. All right. Rad says it's 3:33. Well, it must be 3:28 in Bulgaria. Okay. Sunny in the Netherlands. I read an article. You're not gonna appreciate this. Read an article on the BBC. Oh boy, the Netherlands, largest cocaine bust ever. 20 tons. Is that 40,000 pounds? 40,000 pounds found in a series of like 9 or 10 shipping containers. 20,000 tons. Whew. You guys got to figure your stuff out. I mean, that's crazy. Hope they make a movie about it. All right, Gamestop. I don't see the setup right here. It's a bounce back off the volume weighted average price, but you're right, Larissa. So we have two stocks, very wise. We have two stocks that are kind of stealing the show today, GameStop and Costs. So as a result, there's nothing really else on the Gap scanner that's, everyone's watching these two. Now there might be, again, maybe you see one of them a different stock pop up, but these are the ones that are definitely stealing the attention. So unfortunately, one of these other stocks on the scanner, if it weren't for Cost and GME stealing the attention, so this is like me in high school. If it weren't for, the 15, well, I only had 100 kids in my school. So if it weren't for the, 35 other guys that were handsomer than me, I would have been the most handsome. Well, here we've got GME and Cost. So if it weren't for those two, maybe one of these others would actually get some attention. But, well, they're GME and Cost stealing the show again. Every opportunity to take their shirt off, varsity football, and so we just gotta sit here and wait it out. Our time will come. But yeah, so, these two are the focus stocks. So on another day, if it weren't for these two, maybe we would have some nice action on SCKT, for instance, SCKT or DYNT. Maybe we would. But unfortunately, they're not getting that attention. And that's kind of the funny thing with trading is you'd be like, man, I don't get it. Why is SCKT not working out as well today? So if you had tighter filters on your scans, you might think that SCKT is the best stock, or maybe DYNT is the best stock because you're not looking at anything over 30 bucks. So you're not seeing GME, you're not seeing costs, you're not seeing PAND. And you're like, man, the leading gapper today is not doing well. And I like to keep kind of an open filter there so I can really see what's happening in the whole market. And then, you know, that allows me to recognize, all right, you know what? We've got something that's stealing the show. Everyone's going to be focusing on this. And maybe we do get some good opportunities. If we break 67.50, I would be looking for a squeeze. You know, but who knows? Maybe it breaks 67.50, does a false breakout and flushes. But the question is, in this area, could I take a trade over 56? I could. You know, it's kind of a dip and then a pop back up. There's 56, there's 57. So you see it's starting to open up a little bit more there, but then you'd be buying it right into the highs. Let's just draw this descending line. We're coming right into that resistance level. Thank you, that's a good eye. I had that on my other chart and then I took it off here on this one. Of course, you have to add it on each time frame. So we're kind of running into some of these levels here. So we got, and then look at that drop, right? So that's a 4-point drop. Costs, similar kind of pattern here. It's above that descending resistance level. You know, cost, this pattern of back above the volume weighted average price, the high there is 35.30. It looks good. It does. The main issue is that it's tied to Gamestop. So if Gamestop doesn't hold up, then costs won't either. That's the same with trading some of the cryptocurrency stocks. They're so tied to the price action of crypto. Yeah, and I would agree with John in terms of this is one of those days where it's very hard to manage risk and it feels frustrating because you know it's only 8:30, so it's only 8:30. We may see some more headlines come out, we may see some other things pop up, but at this point right now, it's GameStop, which if that works, then cost probably works too, or if GameStop fails, cost fails, and then that's it. Unless something else, and then we have to wait to see if something else pops up and we do get some other opportunity. So, you know, all things considered, I'm basically sitting the same as I sat yesterday, 80,000, 85, 86,000. And then yesterday I finished the day up 50 grand. I gave back 30 off the top. I'd like to not do that. I had one really nice trade on GME and I'd like to keep that in my pocket. Now, if these prove strength, I would love to get back in if they keep going, but I also don't want to overstay my welcome. Nice, Robert. Looking good. So Robert posting his P&L there. Looks like you got a trade on GME for $639 and a trade on costs for $245. You know, $884. That's a great day. I know it's easy to, oh man, well, Rouse is up 80 grand, $800, that's nothing. $800 is a great day. Be grateful for it. Don't be, you know, when you're not grateful for it, then you quickly give it back and then it's gone. So be grateful for that. 800 a day. If you could do that consistently, you'd be one of the few that are profitable. So Alejandro says, you're putting too much analysis into a stock that doesn't follow technical analysis. I don't disagree with you on that. That is a frustrating thing with GameStop. But I wouldn't say it doesn't respect technical analysis at all, but it does have an ability to just kind of do its own thing and defy logic, which makes it possible that it could actually go up this much and, you know, you're sitting there scratching your head, where do I finally get in? So you're right. And maybe all these lines are for nothing. Maybe it just blows right through all of them. But if we come up to one of them and we do start to see it falter, then that, you know, would be reaffirming that that was a level that I probably should have been thinking about taking some off the table. All right, so let's make this one smaller. LOTZ is holding up relatively well. By the way, those of you guys tuning in, looks like we've got about 8,000 streaming on YouTube. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe. We're trying to get this channel to 1 million subscribers. It will not happen without each of you guys hitting that subscribe button. So I do the live morning show every single day. I don't usually start as early as I did today, but I do the morning show every day. I give you my watch list. Sometimes I take a few trades depending on the market conditions. I try to give you guys a little taste of the education. Over at warriortrading.com, that's where I have my full-length classes. For those of you guys that want to keep learning. Students that are in the classes, you of course know this. We've been going through this curriculum here, and students also have access to our scanners and our private chat room for students only. And you guys have access to a trading simulator, so you can practice what you're learning without putting real money on the line. So what I'll obviously love for you guys at some point on YouTube to come over and join us. You're always welcome to do that, but I really do appreciate you guys on the YouTube channel hitting those thumbs up buttons and subscribing to the channel. And those of you guys, I'm going to give you a link. So today at 1 p.m., we're gonna have a replay of my Day Trading 101 webinar. Day Trading 101 webinar. How to find strong stocks to trade. So check that out if you haven't already. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's also pinned at the top of the comments, or at the top of the chat feed here. So I always am very transparent about the fact that, number one, these are real profits. I'm not trading a simulator. This is real money. My broker statements are posted on the website. That's number one. Number two, my results are not typical. You should not assume that they're typical. You should assume that, in fact, you will lose money as a trader because that's what the statistics tell us, and the majority of traders lose money. Let me put this up right here. Let's see. There we go. And I'm also transparent about the fact that I can't guarantee that you'll be successful just because you take my class. We don't have the success rate of our students. Our students trade at their own brokerage accounts. There's not really a way to verify if we asked, are you profitable, to even know if they were being truthful in that statement. So we don't know the success rate of our students. We certainly have had students who have become profitable traders. We have 2 students this year who have become members of the $1 Million Club, which is fantastic, meaning they've made over $1 million in trading profits. We've got a number of students who are part of the 100K Club, a number of students who are part of the 50K Club who have voluntarily shared their broker statement so they can get that badge. So when you're in the chat room and you're a profitable student, you get a badge. So and Gary, yep. So you got your 100K badge right there, which is fantastic. So I'll just put this up here. So so you can see here. So Gary's got his 100K badge right there. My badge is here. That's the 1 million badge. Anyone else with a badge want to say hello? You're on YouTube. But I'm not going to tell you that you'll take my class and next week you'll make $100,000. There's no way I can say that. You know, you have to understand that this is very hard and most people do lose money. But if you want to learn, I'm happy to teach you, and I will teach you everything that I know about the market. Hey, Dylan, 50K, 100K soon. Right on. Awesome. Lost 1,400 yesterday. All right, well, you know, 10K badge. Yep. Thank you, Jason. You've got your 50K badge there. Emmanuel. There's Jess, 100K. I hear you. Well, it's ups and downs of trading. Very good. Made 900. So anyways, let's see. Gamestop. You know, this is still interesting. Let's see. I'll put this back down here. That was the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. Now we're seeing another surge back up. Cost is back below the VWAP. But look at this chop. Still have about 45 minutes to the bell. Volume has declined a little bit off of that surge at 7. I would think that traders, perhaps like me, are waiting for a clear, obvious opportunity. Be better off waiting and being patient than jumping in too soon. We're still at this descending resistance line. Nice, Mark. Good job. That's awesome. That's amazing. Good for you. Showing his P&L 93,000. Looks like that's on Gamestop. 80,000 on Gamestop. Is that a TD account? Is that SIM or real money? That's awesome. Good work. Yep, so I'll give you the link for verifying your broker statement here. So broker statement verification. There you go. So get that badge. Good for you. GME is still in consolidation here. Yep, we don't have confirmation of a breakout just yet. To be honest, between the two, you know, if I traded both at the same time, if GameStop starts breaking out, I could trade both. I could buy GameStop and costs. It's just hard to focus on two trades at once. So I'm not going to play music because some of the songs get flagged for copyright, and then it's fine, but then I have to do revenue sharing on YouTube ads, and I don't run YouTube ads. So if I play a song, then they automatically start running ads on my videos, and I don't want to run ads on my videos. So I can play, there's some stuff I can play, but sometimes it gets picked up and sometimes it doesn't. So, and I could just sing. It probably wouldn't be as big of a deal if I was already running ads on my video, but since I don't run ads. All right, I'm gonna refill my cup of tea. We've got about 40 minutes to the bell. All right. Well, it's like I missed the beginning of a breakout there. So the high of that candle was back to 61, 10 points. But I don't want to chase it. 61.71. I don't know if I would have taken that trade, maybe over the pivot of 54, 55, maybe. You see the volume on, looks like a 10,000 share seller up there on Gamestop. First 1 minute candle to make a new high to be back over 60. So orders around 60 watching. Long there at 60. Looking for the squeeze. First 1 minute candle to make a new high. Back through 62. So my ad will be over 61 and 62. Watching for my ad. 61. Little chop right there. Orders at 162 to add. So we're getting that drawdown there. High of this candle is 60. We broke through that descending resistance right there. Low of that candle is 56. I'm going to add on the dip at 58 right there. So accumulate a little bit more on the dip for the curl back through 160. Pull it together, girl. My thought on this is that we break through 160, then 64, 65, then we've got to break through 68, right? So 168 is the big line. Let's see right around 9 a.m. if more volume comes into this. So watch for the add over 61, 62. So adding into that high a day squeeze. This is buying dips when I add down here. Watching over 160. So here we've got this ascending support line. So let's watch that break of 160. More volume coming in here. That's what we wanted to see right at 9 a.m. Watch the add over 160, then 161. Adding there at 160, adding at 62. Now looking for the squeeze through 63. Adding at 63, looking for 65. Volume's coming in. We're looking for 165. There's 3 on the ask. There's 4. Nice. Taking a little off the table. Beautiful. Stop break even on the rest. Volume really came in there at 9 a.m. Scaling down, new order at 165. High of that candle was 163.58. Volume spike right at 9 a.m. Watching dips for the next trades. High on cost was 136, but it's dipping because Gamestop is dipping, right? This is bouncing off of the ascending support. However, every dip trade I've done where I've bought this as it's dropping, I've lost on so far today. So I'm not going to do that. My temptation to buy right here, I'm not going to do that because the last 2 times I did it, I lost. So I'm going to wait. Yeah, the nice thing though with these two trading so closely together is that if GameStop starts to rip, I can take bigger size on costs because it's lower priced. So that's the good news. But because they're so tied together, I'm not going to get the trade on costs unless GameStop goes. GameStop goes first, then cost follows. So this was cost yesterday. This was GameStop yesterday, right? So pops up, pulls back a little at the close, pulls back a little. They are like a mirror. I mean, they are the same. So focusing on GameStop, but keeping both of them on watch. Now on that trade, I suppose I could have just done the trade on costs, but I didn't feel like, I wasn't sure about that entry, which would have been 35. It only went up about 87 cents. I think for me to want to trade costs, I'm going to need to see GameStop going parabolic, like bordering on getting halted. Halted on a circuit breaker. So, even though I missed the action yesterday, I didn't trade any of that squeeze on GameStop yesterday. I missed the whole thing. I was driving. I had to run some errands and whatever. So, missed that whole move. If I had been here, should I have traded it? Well, I mean, yes. But on the other hand, I could have also just as easily been outside playing with my son. And I usually try not to sit here till 4 o'clock, and I try not to trade after hours, because trading after hours, if you lose, you've got no time to recoup those losses. So I don't know. I mean, you could always say, oh man, I would have made $500,000 trading that yesterday, and maybe I would have, but it would have also required me to take a pretty high level of risk with a late day afternoon trade. And so in any case, rather than beat myself up about that and tell myself, okay, I got to trade till 5 p.m. every day for the rest of the year because I don't want to miss that again, I just let it be what it is and come back and trade this morning. And so here I am this morning sitting up, let's see, 84,000 plus 21. So now sitting at $105,000 on the day. So, all things considered, I've not to compare myself to others, but it's very possible that I've made more than someone who even traded this through that whole move yesterday. I just had to, come back and wait for the spots that made sense. But I made $100,000. I'm up $100,000, and I've been trading it in this range. So if we get another squeeze like that where it rips up, 30, 40, 50 points, I could do well. I would love that to happen. It's just, it hasn't happened yet today. I don't know if it's going to happen. And sometimes these moves happen at funny times, like 5 a.m. or after hours. And it's like, man, why does it have to make the big move at such a funny time of day? And I think it happens because the market is kind of not prepared for it, not expecting it. You don't have maybe the short sellers lined up to start shorting it. It's just at a funny time of day. So when it takes the market by surprise and goes when it goes, I don't think anyone was really prepared for it. So some of you guys may have traded it and, you know, happened to just the luck of the draw that you were sitting in front of your computer and saw it. But I also guarantee you that there's people that easily could have traded this entire move yesterday and still managed to lose money. And you say, how is that possible? Well, I've done it before, and it's possible when, you know, you sort of get in right here, false breakout. Look at that. Hit a high of 28, drops to 110. That's an 18-point false breakout right there. This right here, continuation, false breakout, drops back down. That right there is a false breakout. That right there hit a high of 170, drops down to 150. That's a 20-point false breakout. Here's another topping tail doji. And then look at that rejection from 200 back down to 165 in one 1-minute candle. So that's how it's done. I've been there. I've watched a stock go up $50, $100 a share and somehow managed to lose money on it and just been like, wow, I really feel like an idiot here. And these stocks that just go up and up and up, it does feel like they don't respond to those technical levels. They just keep going. Doesn't really make sense, and you're just feeling confused. So focusing on the time of day you typically trade the best, focusing on the patterns that you understand the best, and managing your risk is what it's all about. You never capture every single momentum stock. You'll never capture the entire, bottom to top of a move. You just come in and do the best you can each day. So we've got about 22 minutes to the bell. That last trade for me at 160 was good. We got a 4-point breakout. I have averaged down on it at 158. Look at Twitter. So Twitter, I don't know. To be honest, I really don't have a lot of interest in Twitter. Let me see what the catalyst is. Is there news that came out on it? What's the news on Twitter? Did I miss something? From $72 to $80. An 8K filing? What's the 8K filing say? Yeah, all right. Well, I don't know. I really don't like Twitter that much. Float is 773 million shares. I don't think so. Maybe it goes, but I think I'm just going to miss that one. I don't want to chase it up here. I don't think, I'll keep an eye on it over on another chart over here, but I don't really trust that one. You have so many institutional traders in it. As it breaks all-time highs, you might have people that are taking profit. Twitter sets goal to double revenue. Good luck. High that candle there, 58.90. Look at that pop right back up to 62. Look at how fast it pops there. Up to 62. Long there at 62. Now we're starting to open up here. This breaks over 63. Watching for an add through 63, 64, 65. Adding at 64 right there. Now we're starting to squeeze up. 68 is the next target on Gamestop. Holding right now, looking for the breakthrough 65, 66. Volume is coming in. It's a nice flat top breakout. Watch over 65 for the ads. Watching here, 65. I'm going to put an order at 166. So when this starts to ascend here, we've got that logical target, which is we break through 168, and now we're getting into that 170, 190 area of yesterday. That's the spot that we want to see. Watching here for the ad over 164, 165. 164 is a little level right here. Watching for dip trades. Buying the dip at 63, right there. Looking for the breakthrough 64. There's 64. Now there's a seller at 65. I'm going to take a little off, adding back at 65 right there. Now we're squeezing, now looking for 68. Watch this here. There's 66. There's 67. Over 67 could be a long for the break of 68. Watching. So we're starting to ascend through that 68 spot. Adding right there for the breakthrough 67. Scaling in, now looking for a squeeze up to $70. This looks good. All right, so watch this over 68. We're looking for the breakthrough 168 and a squeeze up to 170. This looks great. So I'll let it dip down, curl back up, and then 167 is the next ad spot. Orders at I'll put the order at 169 so it's ready to go. Buying the dip at 65 right there for the curl back through 67. As we come closer to the bell and it ascends higher, this looks good. Watching 67, then 68, squeeze up through 70. So you've got 67 coming up right here, watching for the ad through 67. Adding here at 66, 66. Scaling in for the breakthrough 67, then 68. Here we go, there's 67, there's 67.50. Can we get 68? There's 68, there's 68, there's 69, there's 70. Order at 170 now. Watching for a quick dip, long at 69. Buying that dip right there for the squeeze through 70. Now we're starting to get parabolic. There's 70 on the ask. Watch a dip right here, long over 70. Adding at 67. Buying that dip for the pop through 70. As this starts to squeeze through that level, next target $75, 175. Watch this over 169. Adding there 69 for the breakthrough 70. Scaling in here. Looking for that squeeze up to 175. I'm going to add over 170. Watch here. Looking for the ad, breakthrough 170. Buying the dip at 68. There we go. There's 69. We're going to break 69. 70, this is a flat top breakout. There's 72. This is amazing. High of this candle, 72. New order, 172. Watch here. Sizing down a little bit, taking some profit off the table over 170. New order, 175. Size down on this pullback. High of that current candle is 172. We broke the flat top on high volume, which is great. Now I'm tempted to buy a dip, but I don't want to get sloppy in doing that because, like I said, the last dip trades failed. That candle right there through 170. Interestingly, the cost is lagging behind. I see that. So we broke through that level, which is great. Now on the daily, we've got, I want to see us hold over 168 and then room up to 170. So I'm going to put a new order at 170 here. Watching this dip. I don't want to underestimate it. The low of the pullback is 65. Adding back at 68 right here. Stop is 65. Looking for this to break back over 170. Looking for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high through 170 and then a retest of 173. Let's see, can it break back over 170? I'll add over 70. Orders at 170 to add. We're starting to ascend a little bit here. Adding at 69. There's 70. Can we get the break of 70? Then squeeze back up. First 1 minute candle to make a new high. New orders at $70.10 for the ad. Adding right there for the break of 170. So starting to scale back into this, then over 172. There's 170 on the ask, look for the add. Then the squeeze up to 172, 173, 174. I want to see 175. That's the spot I'm really kind of dialed in on here. Watch the break over 69, 70. Here we go. There's 70 on the ask again. There's 71. Taking a little off the table. New order 173, 175. High of that candle is 72. So taking a little off the table as it breaks in over the 70 level. Sizing back down to flat as it failed there. It's back down to support. Now I'm going to look for a dip. This is a 1 minute. This 1 minute candle here is a false breakout. It made a new high. Now I'm going to look for the break of 65, and on a break of 65, I'm going to do a dip trade. We've got 13 minutes to the bell, and this is actually, you know, in that move right there in that 5 minutes, it looks a lot better because now we're opening, I mean, we're still right around 168, but we're opening about flat to where we were after hours. Target is 200. It's interesting that cost is lagging behind a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It may be that people are just starting to short cost because they're like, listen, this stock isn't even, it's a sympathy stock. Why is it even, it has no reason. I mean, GME barely has a reason. Cost has no reason to be up this much. So watching for a break of 65 for a dip right here. Starter at 63.50. Stop is 60. Only buying 500 shares to start. Watching. Added right there, 65. And then there's a 40,000 share seller. Come on. 40,000 share seller up there. I don't like seeing that. See that seller right there? So I'm sizing back down. I don't like that seller. Which one of you is selling 45,000 shares? $20 minutes to the bell. So very nice trading in that area, sitting at 162,000 on the day right now between my two accounts. $14 million shares of volume. I can't help but be a little nervous about the open and what might happen. Remember, at the open, options will start to trade. We don't have a 5-minute setup right now. 5-minute setup isn't there. The obvious high at this point is 72. So I have an order ready at 72 to add if it breaks that level. Come on, girl. Still 4 minutes left on this current candle. Let's see. So at this point, all eyes are on GME. I'm not really focusing on costs anymore. Thank you guys who are tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, hanging out and watching over my shoulder here a little bit. Kind of a crazy day. Gamestop, I knew it would be crazy, so got up early to start trading it early. We've been kind of watching this since about 6:45 a.m. Volume really started to pick up at 7 a.m., so I wanted to be here for that. I'll be definitely curious to see whether or not, what happens at the open. So as I sit right now on GameStop, it's 9:22. I'm up $142,000 on the day, plus another $20,000 over here in this account. On this account, I got in for the break of 150 and got a solid 10 points on 2,000 shares. That was a nice trade. Over here, I've been much more active getting in, getting back out, and I'm watching GameStop and trying to figure out and decide where the next potential entries are going to be. Just going to make my charts a little bit bigger here. Okay. So, yeah, I'll keep GameStop as the focus stock. Costs, I'm not sure about. Like I said, it's kind of doing a little divergence, but if GameStop goes parabolic, I guess I would figure costs probably will too. So over $36. They've been trading pretty close together, but a little bit of a divergence here in the last few minutes. So the high is 36. I just think that it's a bigger short target because it doesn't have as clear of a reason for being up. It's just following GameStop, but they're totally separate companies. They just both had higher levels of short interest. That's all. Remember, as always, and I'll put my disclaimer up here on YouTube and Facebook, trading is risky, in case you didn't already know that. Most beginner traders lose money, so you should assume that you will also lose money. I would, with that in mind, trade in a simulator and not put real money on the line. There's my disclaimer. Until you've proven profitability. You shouldn't blindly follow me or anyone else. You've got to learn a strategy. So right now, I'm taking along at 67. It's starting to ascend right here on the 10-second chart. So what I'm looking at is this ascension here, the breakthrough 68. And then if this breaks back through 70, I might be a little early on the 5-minute setup. The first 5-minute candle to make a new high is going to be 70, but I'm holding at 67.25. So now my add on this is going to be over 70. We do have risk of false breakouts. Waiting right now, waiting for the first 1-minute candle to make a new high. 5-minute. We have just a few seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. So now we're clear for 5-minute breakout over 70. First 5-minute candle to make a new high. Adding there at 69. Now looking for 69.50. Looking for the add over 70. Adding at 70, now looking for 73, watching over, adding at 72, there's 73, can we get the break of 74? Adding at 73.70 for 74, we're squeezing up here right into the open, picture perfect, break of 75 is the next target, watching dip, adding along at 74.68 for the break of 75. Watch 75 and then a squeeze up towards the 80s. There's 75. It's having a little bit of a hard time breaking that level, but let me give it a chance. Adding long right there for the break of 75. Doing a quick dip. That was a nice breakout. There's 75. There's 75. 50. Holding 3,000 shares, looking for a dip. High of this candle is 75.45. New order 75.45. 76. 176. So watching 176 for the next trade and a squeeze up towards 180. We've got only a few minutes to the bell, but this is looking good based on where we're looking to open. So sizing to try to catch that break over 176 and then a squeeze at the open. How high is it going to go? Man, I don't know. If we get the break of 180, we could start to move pretty quickly. Looking to keep trading this, looking for the adds long over 75.40. Watching Watching for my ad over 75. This is a 1 minute micro pullback, so I'm holding through it. I'm going to look to do a long on a dip. Adding at 74 right there, bought the dip for the breakthrough 75. Watch over 75 and 75.50. Watching for my ad, 75.50. This is a 1 minute micro pullback, looking for the break of 75. There's 74, 73. Still holding. I'll look to do a dip trade, looking for that pop right back up and then over 75. So my question is, at the open, do we get that squeeze through 75 and a squeeze up to 180? I could certainly see that happening. Let's give it a chance to pop back up through 74, 75. 2 minutes to the bell. Watch 74. There's 74 on the ask. Then we're looking for 75. So let's see. Let's see what this can do. It's dipping a little bit. I'm going to take a small loss on that, and I'm going to go in and adjust my hotkeys here with 90 seconds to the bell. My sell hotkey, Control Z, is not offsetting enough below the bid. I'm only 15 cents, and on this stock, I need to give it a bigger offset so I can get filled. 50 cents. And 50 cents. My Shift 1 hotkey I'm going to adjust as well. Shift 1 to 50 cents above the ask so I can get filled. Shift 2, I'll do 50 cents as well, giving myself more slippage. My offsets off the ask, I'm going to do bigger as well. Let's see. We've got less than a minute to the bell. So this is where I adjust my hotkeys for the market that I'm in. I do think that that's the right move. We've got 30 seconds to the bell. In order for me to really have a good day, this is going to need a break over 180, 190, and 200. Okay, so here comes the bell. Expecting lag, orders at 175. This could flush 10 points. It may not be something I want to trade in the first minute. Let me just watch this. We're going to have some option orders that go through. We can expect that. A trade in the first few minutes, I could be risking 10 points. So here's a sell-off right here. There's 50. I saw 58 on the bid for a second. Dipping back down, there might be some people taking profit. Could we get a red to green move on it? Right now, waiting. I don't see the halt levels on it just yet. There's 58, 59, 56 by 58. I'm going to take a dip trade here at 54. I'm going to try to do a dip off the $0.50 and start to step up because this is the volume weighted average price. So I'm doing a bounce off VWAP at 54, adding there, now looking for the squeeze through 75. So looking for that red to green move. Over 70 is an add. Watch this here over 65. 165, then 170. There's 163. Look for the add over 163, 164. We're starting to base out here for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Volume is going to increase, I think. We're just still sort of sorting out a little imbalance. Looking for the adds through 170. Red to green. Watch over 168. Let's catch the break of 168. I'm cutting it for a small loss there at 60. I'm going to let it dip down again. Cost is moving up. I have that on my other monitor, but like I said, I'm just a little cautious on that. The low is 52 on Gamestop. Maybe I'll let it come back down to a double bottom. You know, what's funny is that this almost feels throttled in the volume. Typically, what you see on volume is what you see on cost. It's almost like it hasn't fully opened. Cost, volume starts surging as soon as the bell rings. GME is still kind of burning through this like imbalance in a way. It's weird. It's not there's volume picking up on that candle there. So watching down here on GME, this is right at the volume weighted average price. Now volume is coming in. Back over 160. Stop would be 150. There's 148. Halt level going down is 144. Now we're seeing the halt levels. Long at 46. Buying the dip at 46. Trying to do a dip trade on this, but stopping out. 2,000 shares. Lost, what did I lose? 8,000. All right. It's weird open. I'm going to put an order at 140 if it false halts, but you might just be seeing people taking profit. Now, of course, cost is halting going down as well. All right, so we're halted down at 137. So, you know, I stepped up to the plate on that and did a dip at 46.50 and stopped at 44, and then the rest at 42. 2 points of slippage. Okay, so watching the high day scanner, sitting right now up 192,000 on the day, which is amazing. SSNT, these days they're few and far between. SSNT, I'm seeing it squeezing up. The halt level is 965, but I kind of have missed a good entry. DYNT, I'm not sure about that either. SSNT up to 91, but this is coming right into the resistance here, the volume weighted average price. That's resistance at 91. Okay, SSNT from 9 to 1045, so it's breaking through that volume weighted average price. Million shares of volume. Halt level is 1045. It looks like it's going to halt. No trades for me on that one yet. Halt level may move up again. If the halt level moves up, we could get a dip, but just see what it does. Halt level moved up, long at 30. Buying the dip there for the squeeze up to 1075. When the halt level moves up, I buy that. So watching SSNT over 1050 for the add up to 1075. Added at 1045 right there. So looking for that squeeze through 1045 and then up to 1050. Watch over 40, adding right there at 50. There's 60, taking it off the table. Oh man, so, okay, this is a problem. These hotkeys are not gonna work for these other stocks. This is the problem. I've now tuned my system for Gamestop, and that is not gonna work on some of these other stocks. So SSNT I sold on the bid, full position, which is not what I intended to do. All right, well, let me let this pull back. Let's see if it can hold the volume weighted average price in any case. I don't love that red candle there. That dip from 50 down to 93, then back up in a false breakout. I'm gonna watch GameStop on resumption. Costs, I don't care too much about. GameStop, so this was a funny open. It was almost a delayed open here by a few minutes. Just all these orders here were lighter volume, and then it started to sell off. So on GameStop, you know, maybe it just fades and people are just like, oh, I'm gonna take profit. But I'm looking for a red to green move. The problem is that idea of a squeeze up to 180, well, now it needs to get back up, you know, above the $0.50. So the halt was at 9:33 and 39 seconds. Resumption should be at 9:38 and 39 seconds. SSNT, I'll keep on watch. Made 1,600 on it, but. So the halt was 137. So I'm gonna put an order at 140 on SSNT, or GameStop. If it opens flat, I'm buying, watching. Opens flat, but weird. Waiting on that. Long right there, buying the dip, just 1,000 shares to start. Adding there for the break over 150. Watch this over $150. Holding it, looking for a dip, and then a squeeze through 150 and a red to green move. There's 144, looking for 147. I think we'll get the break through the $0.50. So let's look for that break through the $0.50. There's 47. Can I get the add? 48. Watching for an add. Adding at 48 for the break through the $0.50. Looking for that pop through 150. Halt going up is 155. Look for the add over 150 and then a halt going up on GameStop. Watch here for the add over 150. Adding at 150. There we go. Taking the profit off the table. 195 on the day. High of that candle is 154. I'm going to let it dip for a second, then reposition for my next trade. Halt level moved up a little bit. Okay, we're reclaiming the volume weighted average price. I was down $35,000 on that trade before I went green. On that dip right back here to 39, I was down $35,000. High of this candle is 57.80. I'm going to let it pull back for a second. Can it hold this level? We've got a big spread on this. So now it's back to 49. Dip trade long at 50. I'm buying the dip there. Looking for the pop back up. Managing my risk here with smaller size initially. Looking for the break back over 50. And cutting the loss there. 43. Lost on that one 14,000. So this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Sitting back at 180, basically the same as I was from pre-market. Right now, we're not getting big enough moves, I guess, to make good money on it. It's moving, but it's just so volatile. So glad I didn't lose 50 grand on that trade. If it had broken back to 35, I would have had to cut it for a 10-point loss from 47 entry. Well, 10 minutes into the day, I see KT hitting the scans, but I don't know. I don't like that SSNT didn't hold up. I think if I buy this, I'm just going to be buying right into a flush. I don't think I can do it. I think it's Gamestop or nothing. And with Gamestop dropping there, maybe that's it. Now, that maybe is it for the first, 15, 20 minutes. Maybe we do get a nice red to green move later in the day, but the big move should have been right at pre-market, and it should have right at the open, and it should have ripped through 75 right here on this candle. If it was going to squeeze, that's where it should have happened. 75, 80, 85. Red to green, second best opportunity, and at this point, we're going to red. We're rejecting off of that 168 level. So gave back 14,000 off the top. It is halted again, going down at 129. Was up at most 195,000 on the day, sitting at 180 right now. I think I'd rather keep that in my pocket than give back any more chasing it as it drops. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my share size, and I'm going to reduce my max share size to 3,000 shares. Now with 3,000 shares, I can still, realistically, I could still lose 30 grand, 10 points, but I'm going to reduce my share size. I would say that this had the potential, if we had gotten that squeeze through 175 and then adding for that parabolic move 185, 190, break of 190, back to 200, room to 212 on the daily. If we had gotten a candle like this, just inside a candle like that, I think I could have done really well. We just didn't get it. Not yet. Again, still early, but I think today's a day to be really cautious. I mean, I guess that goes without saying, but this move on GME, it's kind of, it's nasty. It's a bummer that it didn't hold up. It's not surprising that you have some people that are, I guess, taking profit on it after maybe being red, but CDXC on the scanners, look at that. So straight from 10 to 1250. So this is one that has a little bit of a bigger float at 51 million shares. It is easy to borrow. Gamestop. When was the last print on Gamestop? My time in sales is not showing me the last print, which is weird. I've never seen that before. So the last print was at 42.40 roughly. So, okay, so we should get resumption around 47.30. Okay. Yeah, my time in sales is blank on this. It's weird. Okay, let's watch for resumption. Small size on dips, buying dips, and then catching bounces back up. So the halt was 29. I'll put an order at 132. 250 shares. Long, buying the dip there. Looking for the pop back through 130, then up to 140. Watch over 130. Added right there. Taking it off the table. Small gains. 2,000. Still holding 100 shares though. Well, so back to flat. That trade was a break-even trade because I held a little bit. Next halt down is 116, 112. Buying the dip there at 113.60 for a bounce. Let's see if this bounces here. 114 would be my new order. Watching for false halt and a bounce back over 13. Still volume going through. So watch this here. If it breaks over 13, we'll get a nice bounce. No, so it's halted. So holding at 113.60, down 60 cents. I don't love to be holding into a halt down, but in this case, I'm kind of okay with it, given that this is extended enough that it's starting to turn into a reversal trade off the low. So the last reversal trade that I got there was the long at 29. So I was long at, let's see, 28.67, 28.93, 29.66, 29.44, and then got profit at 32.73, 22, and 31. Then I hit the bid on the rest at 26 and 22. So I did get a nice little dip there. I've got 500 shares right now, not 5,000. So my risk is definitely reduced. No bids on this when we get these halts like this, because this is a nicey stock, so we don't see any quotes. So we'll look for a bounce here coming out of this halt, maybe off 100. When you get these strong sell-offs, just like the big moves to the upside, I start to look for the reversal trade, try to trade the other direction, coming back up. Come on. Okay. Nice. Good job, Richard. Yeah, it almost looked like it was going to bounce there, and it started to, but then it sort of faltered. So next order, I guess I'll put it at 115. GMBL making a nice move. You can see it on the scans, but I'm just focusing on GME. It's the right stock today with the volume. So the last print was 48.50, so resumption should be 53.50, so about a minute and a half away. Stocks like Gamestop, are certainly going to be some of the riskiest in the market. These are very volatile, but each day I look for volatility. So these are the type of stocks that I generally like. I can generally do well on because they have big range. This has had a range from $175 a share to $112. It's a $60 a share range. So that range presents a lot of opportunity. Now, for profit and for loss, both ways. And when I was first trading, I would often lose on these because I wasn't as comfortable buying dips the way I am right now. And I would just buy the breakout, then a false breakout, and all of a sudden it drops back down. And it takes time to get good at these. And the only way to get good, in my opinion, is to practice. And every time I saw a stock like this, I would be like, man, I want to try to capture some of that profit. Look at how this thing goes from $50 to $200 yesterday, and I didn't capture any of it. Well, I wasn't trading, but seeing those types of moves and not making anything on it made me want to get better. And I still have room for improvement. I'm sure there's people out there today who are up millions of dollars from their trades on Gamestop, maybe from holding from yesterday or from previous days. And that's not me. I not to compare yourself always to others, but I know some of you are comparing yourself to me, and I would just say I could do the same thing. But practice is where it's at. So let's watch this for resumption. So watching, do we get a pop into a halt coming back up? So I'm holding right now at 113. Looking for the break of 113 and 114. Looking for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. So the high of that candle there is 12.95. So watch in this area for a bounce off 100. I'm going to add there at 08. I'm looking for the squeeze through 112. So I'm trying to get the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Watch over 105, 106. This is a high risk trade, but I'm looking for a bounce off of the psychological support of 105, of 100. So now first candle to make a new high back over 110. See how we start to curl there? So watch this. Now we've got 109, 110. Through 110 is an add. Adding there for the break of 110, there's 12. I'm taking it off the table into 13. Halt going up is 17, but I'm just going to say I'm happy with that. 185,000 plus 21 there is 195,000 on the day. So again, on that one, I had to hold into a little bit of pain. Was really thinking it would bounce off 100, and it did. But then as it curled up, took it off the table. So now you get that first 5 minute candle to make a new high, and I didn't even wait really for confirmation. I could have held this longer. Could have held it longer. But on the 1 minute, not the absolute cleanest sell-off because it was drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop. So I was, after holding in the red, I was happy to take a little off the table there. First 5 minute candle to make a new high right there at 112, pops back to 119. Yeah, you're right. So 206,000. The profit just on Gamestop is 193. So I'm probably going to leave a little money on the table today, but I'm going to say with that, I'm taking my money off the table. Every day you're either giving some back or you're leaving some on the table. And I guess I gave back 10 grand because I was up 195 in this account, and I did make back 5 there, but I'm still down 10,000 off the high. I'm okay with that. So I guess today I gave back a little profit, and maybe I am leaving some on the table by stopping at 10 a.m. But I've been trading since 6:45. I've done my time here. I've sat long enough, and if I keep trading, I'm going to start getting decision fatigue, and I'm going to be more apt to make mistakes, to get sloppy, and to end up possibly holding through a big drawdown that turns into a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 loss. So I want to not do that. It's the second to last day of the month. So I'm going to put up my disclaimer here again on YouTube and Facebook. This is a special episode of the morning show running all day today, or all morning, because of Gamestop. I think the last video I did on Gamestop was one of the most popular ones we had done. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. If you guys aren't subscribed, I do the morning show every single day on YouTube. Now over at my website, warriortrading.com, you guys are able to attend all of my classes, the Warrior Starter classes, the Warrior Pro classes. You have access to these scanners, which you can run on your own machine, even when I'm gone, and you can trade in our simulator. So you can practice trading the strategies you learn. I don't want to hear about people blowing up their accounts, trading stocks like GameStop or COS or whatever it is, if you haven't already proven you've got a track record in the sim. Now, we've all had big losses. I'm no exception to that. Earlier this month, in one day of trading, I lost $268,000. You can check it out on YouTube if you're curious. I made a video. I started recording the video about 2 minutes after I cut that loss. The emotions were raw. I was very upset. That was also my birthday. So it was not a great day for me. But I talked about what the plan would be. How am I going to recover this? I just lost almost 300 grand in one day. I'm down over 300,000 on the month. How am I possibly going to recover this? I've never been down 300 grand on the month before. I've never been down this much before. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? So in that video, I put together a game plan. That was right here, February 4th. This is where I am today. This is where I am yesterday before today's 200 grand. I have recovered those losses pretty, slow and steady, but a couple bigger days here and there, and today's going to be another big day. So this now is going to put me up a little over 1.2 million on the year. I have certainly heard about people who have already crossed 5 million on the year out there. There's a lot of people who have certainly made a lot more than me, and definitely on GameStop, but I'm making a little money each day. I'm making progress, and I'm trying to continue to be a better and a better trader. This was not a great day for me, that big loss, but I'm working on rebuilding, and this is this day today is a really nice kind of, coming towards the end of the month, to be able to make that kind of money without having any huge drawdown. I mean, I was down 35,000 on that one dip trade, but it was manageable. So yeah. When I was in, I'm someone who dropped out of college and was pumping gas at a gas station for like $7 an hour, getting tips of $1 from people that were paying cash at the gas pump. And, I am very, very grateful for the market. The stock market has been, has changed my life, and the ability to trade in the market from anywhere in the world is phenomenal. I know a lot of you guys are logging in from all over the place, certainly on YouTube, but even in the chat room. And being a kid up in Vermont in my 20s, I decided I wanted to learn how to trade, and I'd already been interested in the market, but I decided I wanted to really make a serious go of it. And it was part of kind of a New Year's resolution that I'm going to wake up every morning early enough so I can trade. Look at that, nice bounce up to 125. High of that candle is 125.99. So now you get that kind of wave as it curls back up. Micro pullback, some people would be long over 25 for the break of 26, 27. There's 27. There's 28. So for my average down there at 110, I left some on the table, but again, I'm not going to sweat it. Good job for those of you guys that got green. Those of you guys that aren't on the right side of the P&L today, well, this will be added to the live trading archives for Warrior Pro students, so you can go back and rewatch it, study up, and try to do better next time. Keep practicing. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys again. I'm going to put my disclaimer up as always, and I'll see you all first thing tomorrow morning. Those on YouTube, hopefully you subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to watch a replay of my day trading class, I'll give you a link right here. It's going to be playing today at 1 p.m. with members of my staff there to answer questions that you guys may have. Day Trading 101. All right, hope to see you guys in the classes, and I will see you in the chat room and back here on YouTube tomorrow morning.